I'll start at the beginning. My whole family was killed in a car accident. Someone did horrific experiments on me. I was abducted, raped, and forced to kill someone. And I'm in here bouncing a goddamn ball!
So how is anger management?
Still angry. Some people call me a hero. Others call me a freak.
You're one of them.
Moron. I didn't ask for this. I'm just trying to make a goddamn living in this goddamn city.
You a PI?
I'm resourceful. People I care about are in danger. I gotta make a decision. 1, keep denying it. Or 2, do something about it. We belong way down below.
I don't know how you handle it. It's called whiskey.
Bitch.
Call me a bitch again.
Jessica Jones. You are a hard-drinking, short-fused mess of a woman.
Anything to add, Ms. Jones?
Yeah, I always deal with threats head on, meaning I punch them in the head until they're unconscious. We belong way down below.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. We got new Jessica Jones Season 2 to break down and a big update on Daredevil Season 3. And if you didn't know, it's actually premiering March 8th. I will do videos for the season just depending on interest level, so if you guys want a whole bunch of Easter egg videos or if you just want episode videos, no worries. The footage here is mostly Season 2, Season 1, and Defenders footage cut with that voiceover from her, just kind of linking together the slow ramping up to her losing her shit. Season 1 was mostly about her getting to the point where she was capable of interacting with the outside world, like she completely shut herself off. Defenders was her learning to work with a group again. Like in that Season 2 footage, you see her in that group therapy session bouncing the goddamn ball, as she calls it. The events of Season 2 is her actually dealing with some of her past. Like she talks about the origin story, you get a much better picture of that crash that killed her parents, so it'll be interesting to see how they filmed that from what perspective. Like if she's walking through it, the way that Iron Man can manipulate his own memories and walk through them when he's BARFing.
Binarily augmented retroframing, or BARF. God, I gotta work on that acronym.
These shots of the high-rises that you see are her link to Jaren Hogarth. Jaren Hogarth is kind of like the central figure in a lot of these series just because she's in Midtown, Danny Rand's in Midtown, but she also crosses over with Daredevil because Foggy's now working at her law firm. Obviously, she's coming back during Jessica Jones Season 2, but we also see her on one of these high-rises looking at an apartment building taking pictures of what looks like this character here who comes to talk to her about either merging their detective businesses or maybe he's getting really territorial about his business, but he's just the person who tells her that I also do investigations the way that she does. But he kind of seems like an antagonist because later you see her throwing him through this glass door. And we also get a lot more shots of that Ferris wheel scene where it looks like she's throwing another woman who's either an antagonist or one of the other enhanced people, the freaks, as she calls them. Like they play that scene from Defenders where she's lifting that douchebag's car up and he's like, you're one of them, you're one of those freaks. Most of the Kilgrave that you see in the trailer is stuff from Season 1. There's like a little bit of Season 2 cut in here, but the only real new footage we've seen of him was when he was slow clapping on top of that roof, and it was meant to imply that he's just in her mind, like he's not actually back from the dead. I've always liked the way that Bendis, and now the TV show obviously doing Bendis's comic book thing, of putting her in this purple state of mind just to let you know what's going on. Usually anytime there's purple, it's either commenting on what she's thinking about or it's her hallucinating something that happened in the past. So they use false narration in this really interesting way, which I think is going to be fun for David Tennant during Season 2. Is this her own self-doubt speaking to her, or is it really some vestige of him left inside her mind? Because remember the way his power worked. It was like this crazy pheromone, and he would literally dig into your mind. He wasn't straight up psychic, it was more of a passive ability. Once you were within a certain radius, you were just open to suggestions because of the chemicals that he secreted. So like Jessica said, eventually, after a period of time, it would wear off. But a lot of that had to do with the duration of time that you spent in proximity to him. So the longer you're close to him, the longer it takes for that to go away. And she was with him for a really long period of time. And the really messed up Black Mirror part of it is that we learned that they're actually all conscious while his victims are in his thrall. They're just powerless to do anything about it. So even when he says, do it with a smile, that's the really twisted part about it, even if they're screaming on the inside. Every time I see J.R. Ramirez in the trailer too, I flash back to Wildcat on Arrow. If you didn't watch that show, he played the Wildcat character from DC Comics, but they only used him for a little while because he went to another TV show, and now he's a Jessica Jones character. But aside from him using this purple paint here on the floor, I don't know that he's necessarily tied to any of the villains during the season. I think he's just there to be more of a support character, more of a love interest, like somebody that she just gets into a temporary relationship with. Talking about that, for those of you asking what's going on with Luke Cage, they haven't confirmed that he's popping up during this, but they did have that moment during Defenders where they're like, maybe we'll get together and have coffee again sometime.
Try staying in touch, Jess. You got friends. One of them is in Harlem.
But I think for the most part, she's going to be on her own. I do think they want to tie this to the other series because even though Jessica Jones is one of the more loner characters amongst the Defenders, like the most likely to just stay by herself and not contact other people, you already have Foggy, Jaren Hogarth, and she's in Hell's Kitchen, which is Daredevil territory. So if anybody's going to cross over besides Luke Cage, it'll be Daredevil characters. But for the most part, Daredevil's still down for the count. In getting into Daredevil Season 3, they actually just confirmed that Joanne Whaley is going to be playing Sister Maggie. You remember she got the shout out at the end of Daredevil Season 3, tell Maggie that he's awake. The reason why that's a really big deal is because Sister Maggie is actually his mother in the comics, his biological mother. Now, the circumstances for how she's going to be used during the season might be a little bit different, but it's all part of that Born Again comic book arc. So when we get a little more information about Daredevil, we can actually talk about comic book story, but I don't want to get into that too soon just because the TV show changes a lot of things about the comics. The character description just reads as a strong-willed nun who speaks her mind and cares deeply about Matt's safety. So think of her as like a Father Lantom type character, somebody who Matt looks to for advice and guidance, but in a more protective, motherly way. Literally in this case, because Maggie is his mother. But if you didn't see it, I did a Luke Cage Season 2 video a little while ago because Mike Coulter was at the Black Panther premiere talking about what they were doing for Season 2. He said that they wrapped a long time ago. So what they'll probably do is drop a teaser like they used to at the end of Jessica Jones, like after episode 13, boom, here's your first look at Luke Cage Season 2. They haven't announced a premiere date for that, but I'm expecting it'll be sometime around Comic-Con towards the end of the summer, which means that they'll also have probably already dropped the Daredevil Season 3 teaser as well, because they're still shooting that, so they'll probably just use Comic-Con as a big jumping off point for anything that's dropping the second half of the year. And obviously that also includes all the DC TV shows like Titans, Young Justice Season 3. So what I'll do when it's relevant is I'll just do a roundup video for when new stuff is coming, because there's like a couple big things that everybody's really excited about, and then just like a whole bunch of B-level stuff that's interesting, but not necessarily quite as important. So no worries, as long as you click the bell and enabled alerts for my channel, you'll totally see when I post videos. And if you're someone that uses your phone to watch most of your YouTube videos, make sure every once in a while, like at least a couple times a week, you check desktop, because the app will bug out way more than the desktop interface. If you ever hear people complaining about YouTube not showing you subscriptions, usually that's mostly the mobile app that they're complaining about. Congratulations to that latest Infinity Gauntlet giveaway winner, Dan Syndrome. Please private message me so I can get your contact details. What'll happen is I have some new DC to post, but leave all your Marvel bonus video requests in the comments below. There'll be a bunch of stuff coming up in March. A couple series will be premiering. So while you wait for everything, click here to learn about how Spider-Man and Black Panther are the keys to Marvel Phase 4, and click here to learn all about Luke Cage Season 2 Heroes for Hire with Iron Fist. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.